Hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining. I have loved live so much I decided to do it again. So I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes to see if I could have some other people to join. It is so beautiful outside. I was trying to find a place to get a good connection, and this seemed to be perfect. So today I wanted to talk about something that kind of stemmed from my Facebook post this morning. Hi, Monique. And it was really talking about, basically, how long are you going to live your life by default? And I like to talk about the things that sometimes we think about, but we don't really know how to move beyond that, or what does that really mean, like living your life by default. So I found myself living my life by default at some point in my life, and that was when I was finding it very difficult to make decisions. So I went through all different types of processes so that I could at least feel like I was making the right decision. So I would call other people, or I would write that list of pros and cons, and I did so many things to try to come up with the answer to what I was seeking. But what I have learned over time was, in order to stop living my life by default, I had to find a way to be true to myself and make those decisions differently. Because what ends up happening is, the more I expressed my concern or what my decision was to other people, you get the whole mix of what other people think. And they use their own personal experiences and their own core values to give you the information that they think you need. And because you're not clear yet, you tend to kind of take their advice. Now, don't fuss at me. I am in no way saying that you are not allowed to, seek counsel or ask for the advice of other people. But what I do want you to know, as you were created with the ability to answer any question to any problem that you have. The problem is, we don't usually seek deep enough within ourselves to come up with the right answer. So we're looking for it from the outside, when really it's already within us. If you have any desire or any decision to make, or know of anything that you need to do next to take that next step, you already have it within. And not only do you have it within, but you also have the ability to sit quiet and still enough to receive the results or the answers that you're seeking for, to be able to make that next step. So what I want to encourage you to do is make your next choice in pencil. And notice I said choice and not decision, because there's a difference. So in order to stop living your life by default, you have to start making choices instead of decisions. And you're probably like, okay, Allison, what's the difference? I'm a word person. So the difference is, when you make a decision and you make that list of pros and cons, and you call, 10 different people and you ask them their opinion, you're not getting the information that you really already have. You need to know what it is to do. And the way you figure that out is you choose. You just simply choose. And it sounds very simple, and it is, but when you get really in tune with what it is that you want to do, you'll end up choosing. And I use this example a lot of times in my workshop. So if I were to come to you and I were to say, hey, what is it that you want? Like, I have ice cream, okay? And I have chocolate, and I also have vanilla. And I would ask you, what ice cream do you choose? I wouldn't say, what decision would you make on the ice cream? You would pick one. You would either say chocolate or you would say vanilla. You probably wouldn't have to write out a list of pros and cons. You wouldn't have to ask me the price. You wouldn't even ask me the brand. You would know which one you wanted because you've had an experience with ice cream often enough. You just basically know what it is that you want. So you choose either chocolate or vanilla. Okay, I personally would choose vanilla because I'm not really a chocolate person. So what I'm really saying is stop deciding and start choosing. And when you choose, you come from a real authentic place. And if we're honest, you already know the answer. But you also know that you have to choose what's good for you at that moment. You have to choose what's good for today because your situation may change tomorrow. So I think that you'll release a lot of anxiety if you stop worrying about, okay, if I choose this now, you'll never have another chance. That's crazy. You'll always have another opportunity to choose again. So don't beat yourself up over that choice. It's not in pen. It's not your forever. And if you come from an authentic place, you won't really have to worry about it being something that you can't do differently. So what I've learned to do is I've learned to choose what's best for me for that day, because tomorrow may be different. My situation and my circumstances may change. I may meet people that can assist me along the way. And I no longer have anxiety about making a decision because I no longer make decisions. I make choices. And ultimately, we know what we want. We just have those fears and we don't go after it. And we think of all the what ifs. We think of, if we're doing it right. But you usually know. You know what you want. If it's about a job, you know what you want in a job. Maybe you need to set your intentions for all of the things that you really desire. We tend to know what we want. We're just being inauthentic in our selections, and we make excuses. We put things in different perspectives. We like to come up with all the reasons why this choice or this decision may not work. But you really have to get to a place where you know what you want, you know what's best for you, and if it happens to not be, you can always choose again. And you have that freedom to do that, and then you're no longer worried about what other people will think, what it may mean for your future. You're going too far off. A lot of what we do is we create anxiety for things that have not yet happened, and we make decisions or choices based on a setup that isn't even real. Like, we make up all these things that could happen. Well, if I do this, then this could happen. You have to eliminate all of those reasons, and you have to be able to be confident within yourself to know, okay, this is my choice for today. And if you need to rely on other people for wise counsel, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you don't do that, but I'm saying that comes with after you've already made your choice and you want to share with someone else and maybe get their feedback. But you should already know what you want to do before you start reaching out to people on what they think you should do. Because again, you're the one that ultimately has the experience in going through it, and you kind of already know what you want. So treat it like chocolate and vanilla ice cream. Treat it like, what it is that you really want. When things show up in your life that you've been believing for, they make themselves evident. And if they're not, you just pray for clarity, and you get quiet and you get still, and then you hear for the answers. So I hope that helps, because we got to stop living our lives according to what everyone else says. And I'm a firm believer of creating your own rules. And a lot of times we dummy that down, because once you start sharing some of the things that you're thinking about doing with other people, you'll change your mind real quick. If I would have listened to half of the people that I shared some of the things that I want to do with, they'd be like, well, why do you want to do that? Well, how are you going to do that? Well, aren't you already doing too much already? Okay. I mean, that might be true in some aspect, but when you have purpose and you have desire, it's not going to go away. And when you have something that you want, when it shows up, you know what it looks like. So stop having these fears and anxieties about things that already happened, because that's the first place we go. The first place we go when we have a choice to make is, well, this happened before, and this could happen again, or this happened to Sally, or Joe told me about this situation. Okay, so now you're over with thinking about the past, and then the next thing you start thinking about is the future, and it hasn't even happened yet. Well, what if this and what if that? So just for today, whatever that choice is, because you're not making decisions anymore, whatever that choice is that you have to make, just make it in pencil. And if you wake up tomorrow and your situation is different, you can erase it and write it again. You do not have to deal with the pressure of worrying about whether you made the right choice. Okay? So thank you. That's your Break Free Friday tip. Visit my website, prisonbreakcoach.com. Share this video, make your comments, send me messages and ask me more about this whole, living your life by default. Because you remember what I always say about an expert. An expert is a person who kind of already has been through everything in that particular area. And I'm an expert in quite a few areas. And this happens to be one of them. I lived my life by default. I did things that other people thought I should be doing, and I was miserable. And when I had a decision to make, I made my decision based on a list of pros and cons, because that's what everybody else does. But I don't do that anymore. I just choose. If I have two things in front of me, one is obviously better than the other because I spent time with myself and I know what I want. So spend time with yourself, know what you want, and choose. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.